What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Landlord Chick podcast. And in this episode, we are doing the long awaited first of two episodes on creating your own funnels in 2023 for deals. So I divided this up into two podcasts. This first one is about digital marketing campaigns. So this is about creating ads on social media for bringing in leads for properties to purchase. The other episode is sort of the old school way. Now, don't make effigies of me yet. But the second episode will be sort of the old school way of mailers. So in this episode, we're going to focus entirely on the vast possibilities of digital marketing that exist out there for bringing in leads for your real estate purchases in 2023. Building a real estate portfolio is as much about buying properties as being a de facto entrepreneur. I'm Karina Ufinger. I'm a multi-property investor, rental management company CEO, and also a landlord coach. I'm going to show you the systems and knowledge you need to thrive as a real estate entrepreneur. From your first property purchase to building a portfolio of passive income where you work less than 5 hours a week, you'll learn the essential information and skills to build a profitable portfolio and live the life you truly want. Whether you're well on your journey or just starting out, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Landlord Chick podcast. So if you've listened to what was the episode, I believe 2 episodes ago, because it's been a hot minute, you're going to know that the real estate market in 2023, it's not going to be as brutal as we saw in 2021 or 2022, but it's still going to be a gauntlet. And the way I like to kind of equivocate it, like 2021, 2022 was sort of the Hunger Games. What I see this market being more like is, if you remember the TV show from the 90s, American Gladiators, like that's what I kind of picture the 2023 market being like, especially if you're looking through the MLS. Like if you're looking solely through the MLS, it's going to be like an American Gladiator competition. So still a little bit better than it was, because not the Hunger Games, we're just slightly below that. So we need to create our own business this year. We need to create our own leads, ones that not every single person on earth that is interested in real estate investing is also trying to buy in that zip code, in that city, in that county. So we need to create our own process for bringing in leads of people that want to sell their investment properties, or if you're a single family home person, then obviously single family homes. Now, I always prefer the digital method of marketing. So I'm going to make it pretty well known that I do have a little bit of a bias here. I don't really like any sort of old school advertisements. So anything that involves the newspaper, anything that involves letters and mailing, I'm sorry, to me, I just don't feel that they're worth it. And we'll get into that in just a few minutes. So in this episode, like I said, we're going to focus on the digital marketing campaigns. We're talking about social media, in general social media, but yet there's one thing that isn't quite social media that we're going to talk about. But I truly believe that there are 3 distinct places that if you're interested in running a digital marketing campaign, this is where you need to be. Number 1, Facebook. 2, LinkedIn. And 3, this is the non-social media one, but it is digital, Google AdWords. Now, the reason I like digital marketing so much better than traditional mailer marketing is that it is more bang for your buck. To send out mailers, if assuming that you sort of have it fully automated or mostly automated, where you get them printed by a robot, where they look like they're handwritten, they're all sent to you. Maybe the envelopes are pre-written out, robot sent to you as well. You do all that, you put postage on it, you lick it, you drop it in the mail. From my perspective, the time and the money that goes into that just isn't worth it. And if you automate all that, like let's say you take yourself completely out of the equation and all what you're doing is hiring somebody to send out your mailers, I still don't necessarily think that the $3.75 or something you're going to pay per mailer is going to be worth it. Now some of you be like, well, wait, 375? That's because I'm adding in time as far as like you agreeing to what's going to be written in your mailer, the formatting of it, picking out someone or a company to do it for you. So I'm adding on that time in there, so on and so forth. But for that reason, I really don't necessarily think it's worth it. Because also with those types of campaigns specifically, it's going to take more than one touch to get them to react. You have a higher chance of instantaneous reaction when you're doing digital marketing. See, with a letter, they'll open it up while they're sorting through their mail. They're not necessarily instinctively going to like drop everything and then go scan the QR code that's maybe on your letterhead if you're that fancy, and if you don't have a QR code. Are they really going to take the time to text you or email you or whatever you have on that letter at that exact moment? On Facebook and LinkedIn and Google AdWords, people's reactions are much more instantaneous. They're going to act on it right away. So that's why I really, really like digital marketing. Now you might be wondering, where's Instagram? Like, why isn't Instagram on this? Here's my feelings on Instagram for specifically real estate marketing for leads. I don't believe that's where your money should be spent, because somebody recently, I mean back in January, I took a marketing social media crash course, sort of like a boot camp thing. I like to take one every year if possible, and this one that I took, she did a phenomenal job. But in there, she talked about how Instagram is the platform that people go to be inspired, not to be brought down, not to be felt that they're in trouble or that they're in a bad situation, but people go to Instagram to be inspired. In my opinion, the ad you're going to be creating isn't necessarily going to be inspirational, so it doesn't really belong on Instagram. I also don't necessarily believe that Instagram marketing has caught on as well as Facebook marketing has. Now, yes, I know they're all controlled by the same company, Meta, whatever it is that Zuckerberg created. I understand all that, but there's still something about Instagram marketing that kind of like operates in its own realm that it just hasn't caught up to Facebook. So that's why we're not talking about Instagram here. But let's dive into these different types of platforms and why I think they're useful, why I think you should be placing ads there. Now, I want to make sure you guys know I'm not advocating that you necessarily spend money on every single one of these. I would pick one or two, but I really wouldn't pick all three unless, of course, you have a big budget, because you want to have enough budget to have a focus on one, maybe two platforms. You're not going to get as much success if you're sharing your pie three ways. So if you have $500 for Facebook ads for the next, 3 months, it doesn't make any sense to necessarily just drop, that was a bad number to pick for math-wise because I suck at math in my head. So let's say $600, make it easy on me. If you have $600 in your budget, spreading it three ways, you could spend $200 on each over the course of 3 months. But I don't necessarily feel that a lot of us want to do that because we want to have more bang for our buck. And generally speaking, the more someone sees an ad, the more likely they are going to be to respond to it. So I feel like it makes the most sense to pick one or two of these that you think will truly work for your strategy and focus on those. So what's the big deal with Facebook? Like, why do I still like Facebook for advertising? Well, I've always liked it for its ability to drill down target markets. So I love the fact that I can go into Ad Manager and then I can specifically pick people who have hobbies and interests within whatever some of their pre-filled selections are. So previously I have selected Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, real estate investing. I think even Grant Cardone is possibly a hobby or interest. You see where I'm going with this, where I'm all these sort of like keywords and not necessarily words, but like programs that are a part of real estate investing or would be frequented by real estate investors. That's what I love about being able to drill down in hobbies and interests in Facebook, is I can drill down to those and say, yeah, I want people that are interested in this because likely they're interested in what I have to offer. The other thing I like about it is age range. Now, this is really, really crucial if you are choosing to do a marketing campaign that is based more on the age of the seller. So maybe you specifically want to target investors that want to ride off into the sunset and retire in Arizona or Florida or Texas. So in that instance, being able to drill down age range wise would be really, really useful. It also allows you to remove people that you likely shouldn't be marketing to. Now, what I mean by that is chances are you don't have 18, 19, 21, 25-year-olds, even honestly 27-year-olds that are interested in selling a property because very likely they've recently purchased it and they're probably going to try and hold on to it yet. So I like the fact that you can sort of remove the younger ages. I generally start my marketing campaign about like 35, I think, is where I start the age range. And then I cut it off, I believe at 75. Because I figure at that point, number one, I don't think there's a lot of people over the age of 75 that truly use Facebook. But then two, they probably have some plan in mind for their properties that doesn't involve selling them to other people. The other thing I really like about Facebook and its ability to drill down is the location aspect. You can pick county, you can pick city, or you can even just pick specific zip codes in larger cities so that maybe you just want like this little quadrant of the city. So let's take a larger city like, I don't know, Des Moines. I think Des Moines has more than one zip code. Hopefully it does. If you're in Des Moines and you don't have more than one zip code, well, then I apologize. I'm just trying to be geographically friendly here and not always pick the same places. But let's say Des Moines has 3 zip codes for the purposes of this. If you know you want to stay out of one zip code, you can just go in there and enter the other 2 zip codes that are covered in Des Moines. And that way you're not going to get any from the neighborhood that you don't really want to be in. That's why I love being able to drill down like that for location. And really, as far as the expense goes, the pay-per-click aspect of Facebook is still very, very low. It's the incredible return on what you pay for a click or for visibility is extremely worth it. It's just one of the cheapest forms of marketing that exist out there. So the second platform is LinkedIn. Now, this one might seem a little odd because there's still this feeling out there that LinkedIn is more about people looking for jobs or people that are trying to be caught by a headhunter or something like that. But really, LinkedIn has started to shift, and it's really begun to become the Facebook for professionals. So people go on Facebook on LinkedIn to do networking, to see what their colleagues are up to. And it's a place that we all can feel pretty open with following people, because I'll admit it's a little weird on Facebook to have mortgage lenders or other people follow me personally on Facebook. So honestly, most of the time I don't accept their friend requests because it feels odd to me. I would much rather have them over on LinkedIn, which I have to get better with LinkedIn, but I'd much rather have them over there because on Facebook, if I make them a friend, it's like, all right, you're going to see pictures of my nieces playing soccer and family get-togethers, and I don't even know whatever else that I might post on there that I'm not sure I want you to know about. So I really prefer to keep those contacts over on LinkedIn, where it's going to be professional. I'm not going to be posting personal random stuff. I'm focusing on LinkedIn when I make a post, and it's a post with a purpose for my professional life. Yeah, I'll throw in some other weird stuff once in a while on LinkedIn, but generally 90% of what I post over there is going to be very professional, and it's going to be focusing on what I do in my career. So for this reason, LinkedIn is a great place to go because you build your network of realtors, lenders, insurance agents, contractors, fellow investors, and you make your posts on there and they can be seen by your network. Now, we're not even talking about the ad yet because the ad comes next, because you'll create your post and your circle will see it, which is great. But then you'll be able to basically boost that post and make it an ad. And that's where you're going to be sort of entering the aspect of advertising for your lead funnel. So your posts can then be seen by other professionals, other people that might have similar interests or similar careers in what they're doing. And then they can actually get in contact with you about selling their property. So I really like the fact that it's a great place to get in contact with other real estate professionals that maybe you might not be networking with actively on a local level. Because you think about it, when you're networking in person locally, usually that's limited to a couple people that are in the certain Facebook group that you're a part of for real estate investors. But yet there's probably dozens of people that aren't a part of that group that are active real estate investors in the area. So another great place to potentially find them is by running a LinkedIn ad. Now, lastly, the third platform is Google AdWords. Now, again, this isn't social media, but I think it's a really crucial one, especially if you're going to be doing single family homes. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're not doing single family homes, doesn't mean you skip this section of the podcast. There's still a lot of purpose to Google AdWords, but I think generally it's going to make more sense for single family homes, but that doesn't mean I don't think you should do it at all, because there's one distinct advantage that Google AdWords has over the other two platforms I've mentioned. And that's the fact that your ad on Google AdWords is almost indiscernible as an ad. So what I mean by that is it's pretty obvious on Facebook and LinkedIn what an ad is, because you'll inevitably have that banner at the bottom that says learn more. It'll say sponsored at the top. There'll be a couple things that kind of make it generally well noticeable that it's an ad. But Google AdWords are so subtle that you technically don't even know they're an ad unless you're really paying attention to it, because it blends in so well. The only way you know it's an ad is unless, of course, you've come to know that usually the first search result is likely going to be a sponsored search result. But even then, it could appear lower in. The only way you would notice it's an ad is there'll be just the word sponsored in regular type font, nothing catchy, nothing vibrant, just regular like Times New Roman black font. It'll just say sponsored. And it's in like a normal font size. That's why I like Google AdWords, is because it's so discreet that person doesn't even know they're necessarily being advertised to. Because we've all been there where we scroll through Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and we kind of see obviously something's an ad, so we go right past it. With Google AdWords, it's so discreet you don't even know that you're being marketed to. So that's why I really like Google AdWords. Now, Google AdWords will work great if you are someone who's going to create a landing page for your lead funnel, and that's actually our next section of this podcast. But really, it'll work well with anything as long as the end form of contact isn't phone call. You really want to have some sort of internet landing site, whether it be a Facebook page or a landing page on a website that people go to, because this is a Google search result click, which means there has to be something that they can click on to go to. So you need either or in this situation. But I really do love the way that Google AdWords basically secretly markets to people without them necessarily catching on to it all the time. Okay, so now we need to talk about taking in your leads. We kind of broached that conversation very briefly just 3 seconds ago. So on Facebook with Facebook marketing, you're probably going to just have them message a business page. If you don't have a business page, so if you just have a personal page, your first step is actually to create a business page. So maybe you currently have an LLC for one of your properties. You can use that. Create a business page. Don't need to have followers or whatever. Just have the business page, upload some quick content to it, couple posts over the next week or two. And then you're going to have your Facebook page, which will allow you to start running these ads. The reason you want the Facebook page is because then you get access to the Ad Center Manager. It's this whole great, amazing tool. It's very overwhelming at first, and since they switched it up, I'm honestly still getting used to it. But you'll have access to the Ad Center, and that's a really great tool for you to have for your Facebook marketing. Now on Facebook, you can have it go to the landing page, or you can have it be a click now to message us, so message you through Facebook. That's your option, whatever you want them to do. I mean, technically you want them to fill out a form or contact you. You want to have them reach out rather than be led somewhere for more information. So I do recommend that if you're not going to do any sort of landing page whatsoever and you have a Facebook ad, that you have the button be to contact you and have them contact you through Messenger through that company. Now, your other option would be to have a website landing page, and then basically the end result for the button would be learn more. Now, a landing page is something that is not hard to create if you know the basics of what you should be creating. So if you don't currently have a website, you don't necessarily need to fret too much. There's plenty of places that you can create a free website. The only thing is it's free because you have to keep their company name in the URL address. So it could be free through, and I can't think of any free ones right now, but there might be a website creator out there. I'm thinking this is really old school. Don't hate me, but going back to the 90s, Angelfire. So Angelfire was one place that you could host a website. So if they still existed, which they don't, you could have a free webpage on there if you did angelfire.com / whatever the name of your website was. So you can still do that on various platforms. But again, the only downside of that is that it has the company name on there. It doesn't necessarily take too much legitimacy away. Like it does a little bit, but you can make it up in other ways. But really the best landing page is going to be one that is www.yourproperties.com. That's not actually, but what I mean by that is your LLC. So it's really best if you can create some sort of mini web page or something for people to actually go to. And not only to learn more about you and what you can do, but the ultimate purpose of a landing page is to have a contact form that they can click. So if you are doing an ad and you're going to send it to a website, I strongly recommend that it sends it directly to the page for the contact form. Send them there first. If somebody wants to click off of it and research you first, that's fine. They'll go to other sections of the web page if there are other sections, and they'll learn about you. And after they learn about you, chances are they're going to contact you, so they'll come back anyway. But you want contact to be the contact form to be the first thing they see for basically everyone else who has like the attention span of a gnat and is really just going to fill out this form and then that's it. They're done. They're moving on to their next thing in life. So I highly recommend that your website landing page, the first landing page, actually be a contact form. You can build it out with other pages, something like an about you, about your company, why you invest in real estate, why you love it. Create some sort of like mini web page, have a contact us form, make that your landing page. Doesn't need to be anything paid. You can use one of the free ones. But if you have it in your budget to create a web page, and especially if you're going to be committed to this marketing campaign digitally through the rest of the year, it just makes sense to quickly buy a domain and quickly host it through whatever platform you feel is best for you. For the website that I have for my company, Brio Properties, hosting and everything costs, I think, $323 a year. For me, that's certainly worth it. And anytime I've run a marketing campaign, even if it's been for buying investments, I've actually used my pre-existing URL for Brio Properties and just created a subpage for that specific marketing campaign. And I've created like a little bio and stuff. So you can certainly just piggyback off of other websites if you happen to have one for, I don't know what, maybe you have a website for promoting your guitar lessons that you teach. I don't know what it is. You could certainly just use a pre-existing one and build out some little pages on there. Then, of course, the third option, and I don't necessarily know how good of an option this is, but you can have them email or phone call. Usually with digital marketing campaigns, they prefer and want you to have someplace they go physically rather than just having them open up their default email browser or whatever on their phone or their tablet to then email you. So we've talked about the different social media platforms you should likely be thinking about advertising on. We've talked about the pros of all of them. We've talked about taking in your leads, how you're going to direct them. But now we need to talk about your content, your message. What is your message going to be? Now, your message is going to be based on your investing strategy. So you need to consider what properties you are trying to target, what customers you are trying to target. So what are some categories of this? Maybe you're targeting distressed owners, people that are underwater for whatever reason. Maybe you're targeting specifically older investors. Maybe you're targeting growing investors. Or maybe you're targeting derelict properties. Or maybe you're not necessarily targeting any of that. And you're just like, I just want to buy duplexes in southeastern Idaho. Okay, great. But you need to know specifically what you're trying to buy so that you can have that as part of your messaging, because you want your messaging to be direct and applicable. You don't want to have such a general marketing context or message that it doesn't speak to the person. Your message needs to speak to the person on some level, make some sort of connection. So whether it be the fact that they own a duplex and you want to buy duplexes, or maybe it's the fact that you want to buy properties at a specific area because you feel passionately about the community. I know one person who runs very, very successful digital marketing campaigns out in North Carolina. She markets them to areas that are relatively distressed in her city. And she says, I want to help clean up the neighborhood. I want to help revitalize this area. Sell me your property. I will take very good care of it. She's had great success with that sort of marketing campaign. Now, you want to focus on either solving the person's pain point or making a personal connection. The example I just gave you was a personal connection. This investor in North Carolina, she's making a personal connection with these people because she wants to improve the communities that they likely live in and invest in. She's able to make that connection with people. But you can also focus on solving their pain point. So with the elderly, maybe their pain point is that they just don't want to go through all of the hoopla of selling it through the MLS. Maybe their pain point is the fact that they live in one unit, they rent out the other, and they need to find a new place to live, or they need to downsize or something. Figure out what their pain point might be and figure out ways that you can address it. For the distressed buyers, maybe something about getting top dollar would really speak to them. Maybe something about being able to be relieved of their back due mortgage would speak to them. And then, of course, you have the derelict properties, and maybe there you just offer a quick sale. Maybe you offer connections in the contractor community. You can get really creative with this, but figure out what a pain point might be and figure out how you can help solve that pain point and put that in your marketing message. Now, the important thing to remember about any sort of social media ad or digital marketing ad is the attention span that we have, specifically the attention span we have nowadays for social media. So people decide within 2 seconds if they want to read on in a post. So literally the first 2 seconds, someone's already decided if they're going to bother watching the rest of your video or clicking on read more, which is the rest of the ad, or if they're even going to click on contact or learn more. 2 seconds. 2 seconds, they've decided that point. They are deciding if they are staying there or they are moving on. Another 10 seconds is the max attention for a video and reading. So you want to have your Facebook ad, your messaging, if it's a written ad with a picture, have it be a quick read where you can read the majority of it in 10 seconds or less. Videos, if you're doing a video, you can have a little bit further of an attention span, but the first 10 seconds are critical because if you don't hook them in the first 10 seconds, they're moving on. So with a video, you can have it be 30 seconds, but those first 10 seconds have to be so enticing and so just alluring to them that they'll stick with the rest of the 20 seconds. Now, videos are great because they tend to grab our attention more just as a whole. We're all more likely to stop and watch a video that an actor or a motivational speaker or even a friend has posted on Instagram or Facebook than we would to stop and read all of the text that goes with a picture. So keep that in mind. If possible, create some sort of video. A video doesn't necessarily require spoken word. It can just be typed over on pictures, so on and so forth. There's plenty of ways you can do it. But just keep in mind this idea of a very limited attention span with social media. This is specifically for the LinkedIn and Facebook ads. With Google AdWords, the attention span really isn't going to come into play as much because they'll see it and they'll likely click on it. Because a Google AdWord, you don't really do any byline or anything on it. You just sort of set up the Google AdWord for certain search keyword phrases. And then that's really about it, because it's going to pull information from the website wherever you're directing people to. All right, guys, that is a brief overview of digital marketing campaigns. In the next episode, we're going to get into the more traditional one, which is the direct mailers. So I will see you next time.